At night, you can see a lot of stars because the sky is dark. You can also see a star in daytime when the sky is bright. It is the sun. The sun is our daytime star. It is also the star nearest to us. The sun is very big. It is much bigger than Earth. The sun is almost 1,000,000 miles across. If Earth were this little dot, the sun would be this big. The sun is very far away from Earth. It is much farther from us than the moon. It is 240,000 miles from Earth to the moon, but it is 93 million miles to the sun. Suppose a spaceship went from Earth to the moon and could get there in 3 days. The same spaceship would take 3 years to get to the sun. And remember, the sun is our nearest star. All other stars are much farther away from us. It takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth. The next star beyond the sun is so far away that light from it takes over 4 years to reach us. Yeah, in a way. The sun is made of hot gases. Most of the sun is hydrogen gas. There are lots of other materials too, including iron, gold, copper, and tin. They are not solid as they are on Earth. All of them are gases. They are gases because they are so hot. The sun is so hot that a spaceship could never get close to it. If it did, the spaceship would melt. The temperature on the sun's surface is 10,000 degrees Fahrenheit. We are millions of miles from the sun, yet the sun is so hot and bright that lots of heat and light reach us. The sun keeps Earth warm. Yeah, it helps plants grow. Without the sun, there would be no plants. There would not be any animals either, because animals eat plants. Without the sun, we could not live on our planet. You can do an experiment to prove that the sun helps things grow. Put some soil into 2 paper cups. Plant 4 beans in each cup. Cover the beans with a bit of soil. Put 1 cup in a sunny spot and the other in a dark place. Water the soil. Put only a little water in each cup, just enough to make the soil damp. After about a week, the beans will start to sprout. Those in the sunlight will grow well. At first, those in the dark will also grow well. Water the sprouts for 3 or 4 weeks, or even longer. A spoonful of water every 4 days or so is enough. Watch for differences between the plants in the sun and those in the dark. You will discover that your beans need the sun to keep growing. All plants do, and animals do. The sun helps plants and animals grow. It also gives us energy. Most of the energy we use on Earth comes from the sun. Energy from the sun is called solar energy. Energy from the sun can be trapped to heat water and to heat houses. Even the energy in coal, oil, and gasoline, which is made from oil, comes from the sun. Millions of years ago, the sun's energy helped plants and animals grow. When the plants and animals died, they were packed together and changed to coal and oil. So coal and oil are really stored up solar energy. Millions of years ago, the sun warmed our planet. It keeps us warm today. The sun will still be shining millions of years from now. Of all the the stars in the sky, the sun, our daytime star, is by far the most important one for you and me. Okay guys, let's go on the chocolate chip cookie contest. Hey Corey, listen to this, shouted my friend Kevin. There's a chocolate chip cookie contest at the shopping center. I'm going to make some and win 2 tickets to the circus. Do you know how to make cookies? I asked. Sure, said Kevin. I've watched my mom. All you do is mix up some flour and stuff and bake it in the oven until it's cookies. I can't use the stove unless a grown-up helps, I told him. That's the problem, said Kevin. Mom's busy painting right now and I have to hurry. The judges start tasting cookies and choosing winners today at 4 o'clock. Yeah, that's the babysitter. I'd rather be a cookie taster, I told him, than a cookie baker. Kevin grabbed my arm. Ask your babysitter to help, he said, dragging me inside. She makes the best chocolate chip cookies ever. Mrs. Anderson was chasing the twins, and the twins were chasing the cat. Big cookies? Here? Today? She asked. No way. Try me next week. Next week will be too late, we told her, so she gave us her special recipe. Promise to look both ways crossing the street, Corey, and go ask your grandmother to help. She makes cookies almost as good as mine. My grandmother was just leaving. Mercy me, she exclaimed when she checked the recipe. You can't make prize-winning cookies this way. You'll need to add 1/2 cup of these. She gave us a box of raisins. Now go see if your Aunt Suzanne can help. She makes cookies almost as good as mine. Aunt Suzanne was eating a late lunch. She still had 3 chimneys to clean before dark. Good grief, she groaned when she checked the recipe. You can't make prize-winning cookies this way. You'll need to add 1/2 cup of these. She gave us a package of walnuts. Now go see if Cousin Norman can help. He makes cookies almost as good as mine. Cousin Norman was picking his banjo. Great guns, he boomed when he checked the recipe. You can't make prize-winning cookies this way. You'll need to add 1/2 cup of this. He gave us a package of coconut. Now go try next door. Mrs. Luigi makes cookies almost as good as mine. Mrs. Luigi was right in the middle of plum jam and piccalilli relish. She wiped her hands and checked the recipe. This ought to be a prize winner, all right. Then she gave us a big package of chocolate chips. I see my son Larry in his backyard now. Run outside and see if he can help. Watch out, though. He's no cookie expert. I have to get changed, said Larry Luigi, so you'll be on your own. That's okay, I told him. Kevin knows what to do. Let me get my things from the trailer, said Larry. I must be at the shopping center by 4 o'clock. We'll work fast, I told him. That's when we have to be there, too. All right, said Larry. Promise to clean up your own mess, and it's a deal. I can even give you a ride. I had to ask Mrs. Anderson about that. Kevin called his mom, too, while Larry put sugar and flour and eggs and bowls and beaters and things on the counter. Our hands weren't very dirty, but Larry made us wash them anyway. He had everything else we needed for the recipe except the cookie sheets, so he brought out 2 pizza pans instead. Then he turned on the oven. Call me if you need anything else, he said, and watch the clock. It's already after 2. There was more to it than just mixing up some stuff in a bowl. The first thing Kevin read was, grease cookie sheets. What does that mean? I asked him. Kevin didn't know, so I yelled for Larry. Larry showed us how to spread just a little bit of butter all over the pans so the cookies wouldn't stick. Then he hurried back to his room. Kevin read from the recipe, cream, butter, peanut butter, and sugars. I yelled for Larry again. In a few minutes, Larry came out and showed us how to smoosh the butter and peanut butter together. Then he said to add the sugars, stir hard until the mixture was creamy smooth. Kevin said, Corey, you can stir. Yeah, I'll watch and tell you when it's ready. I stirred and I stirred and I stirred. I thought my arm would fall off before Kevin said the stuff was creamy enough. Then he read from the recipe again. I had to call Larry 3 more times. First he showed us how to beat the eggs. Next he showed us how to sift the flour. Last he showed us how to blend it in. Then he said, "Think you could handle the rest of this? If I don't finish my face soon, we're all going to be late." I dumped in the oatmeal, Grandma's raisins, and Aunt Suzanne's walnuts, and what was left of Mrs. Luigi's chocolate chips. Kevin stared at the bowl and said, "Looks like you made too much dough, Corey." "So give me half," I told him. "Maybe I can win a prize too." "You don't have time," Kevin insisted. "You still have to clean up the mess." I had plenty of time. It only took a minute or so to spread out my dough on one of the pans. When Kevin's pan was ready too, I called Larry again. He put everything in the oven and set the timer. I washed bowls and beaters and things while Kevin sat and stared at his Mickey Mouse watch. "Just in case the timer doesn't work," he said. "We have to be sure the cookies don't burn." When Kevin's cookies were done, I noticed Cousin Norman's coconut. "Larry," I cried. It was too late to add it to Kevin's cookies, so I said, "Just let me dump it on top of mine, please. I can't make prize-winning cookies without coconut." "You won't win the prize anyway," said Kevin, on the way to the shopping center. "That looks more like a monster cookie than a people cookie." I wondered if Kevin was right. "It's supposed to look like that," Larry told him. "Corey's a pizza man, like me." "Yeah," I added. "Don't you know a chocolate chip cookie pizza when you see a chocolate chip pizza cookie when you see one?" "Oh boy, is that dumb," said Kevin. "The judges are all going to laugh. They're all going to say they never heard of such a thing, and I'm going to win the prize." "Maybe you will," I told him, "and maybe you won't." The judges tasted lots and lots of cookies before they got to mine, and Kevin was right. They did laugh. They did say they had never heard of such a thing as a chocolate chip pizza cookie. But I didn't care, because that's why I'm going to the circus next Saturday. Most original first. That says something about he won like the Young Cook Award, I think, or something.
Yeah. Young.
Oh, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Alright guys, a fair bear share. Let's see. Mama Bear said to her 4 little cubs, "If you'll collect enough nuts, berries, and seeds, then tonight I'll bake my special blue ribbon blueberry pie, and you'll each get a fair bear share." The cubs went to the forest, where there were lots of sweet-tasting nuts. 3 of them worked very hard, but the 4th little cub just wanted to play. She climbed trees, she swung from branches, she didn't look for even one nut. The cubs ran home and gave their baskets to Mama Bear. She said, "If we put the nuts in groups of 10 and put the ones that are left over next to the groups, then we can quickly add them up." The cubs piled up the nuts they had collected by tens. The first cub had 11. That's one group of 10 and one left over. 11. The second cub had 14. That's one group of 10 and 4 left over. The third cub had 12. That's one group of 10 and 2 left over. The fourth cub didn't have any at all. That's 0 nuts. 3 tens and 7 nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 37 nuts all together. 3 of you did a very good job. Next, the cubs went to the field to pick big, juicy blueberries. 3 of them picked really fast, but the 4th little cub still wanted to play. She skipped and ran. She chased after bees. She didn't pick even one berry. The cubs ran home with their baskets again. "Let's group the berries by tens and by ones and add them all up," Mama Bear said. The cubs piled up their berries. Yeah, that one picked a lot of berries. first cub had 21. That's 2 groups of 10 and 1 left over. Yeah, that one picked a ton. The second cub had 15. That makes 1 group of 10 and 5 left over. The third cub had 13. That's 1 group of 10 and 3 left over. The fourth cub didn't have any at all. That's 0 berries. 4 10s and 9 berries. That's 49 berries altogether. 3 of you did your share of the work. Then the cubs went to the meadow to find some nice crunchy seeds. 3 of them grabbed all they could. But the fourth little cub wanted to play some more. She turned lots of cartwheels. She jumped all around. She didn't grab even 1 seed. Again, they ran home and gave Mama Bear their baskets. The cubs piled up their seeds by tens. The first cub had 23. That's 2 groups of 10 and 3 left over. The second cub had 17. That's 1 group of 10 and 7 left over. The third cub had 26. That's 2 groups of 10 and 6 left over. The fourth cub didn't have any at all. That's 0 seeds. 5 10s and 16 seeds. That's 66 seeds altogether. 3 of you are very good bears. Okay, so then they saw that they could make another group of 10 because they had 5 10s and 16 right here. So they could make another group of 10 if they took these and made them another 10. See what they did? So then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups of 10 plus 6 left over. See what they did? Mama Bear looked at all the nuts, berries, and seeds that had been collected. She said, "I'm afraid there's not enough to make blue ribbon blueberry pie. 3 of you worked very hard, I know, but 1 of you did not do a fair bear share." The 3 hard-working cubs all looked at their little sister, and she looked sadly down at the floor. All of a sudden, she jumped up, took 3 baskets, and hurried out the door. First, she ran to the forest and found lots of nuts. Next, she skipped to the field and picked bunches of berries. And she raced to the meadow and grabbed every seed she could. And she ran home, holding the baskets tightly in her little cub paws. She proudly handed Mama Bear her baskets. Mama Bear said, "Now it looks like you've worked hard too. Let's put things in piles by 10s and by 1s and add them to all that we already have." We had 37 nuts. That's 3 groups of 10 and 7 left over. The little cub had 15 more. That's 1 group of 10 and 5 left over. 4 10s and 12 nuts. We can make another group of 10. 5 10s and 2 nuts. 52. Mama Bear emptied the next basket. We had 49 berries. That's 4 groups of 10 and 9 left over. The little cub had 33 more. That's 3 groups of 10 and 3 left over. 7 10s and 12 berries. We can make another group of 10. So they took all these to make another group of 10. 8 10s and 2 berries makes 82. Altogether, we have 82 berries. Left over, the little cub had 25 more. That's 2 groups of 10 and 5 left over. 8 10s and 11 seeds. Again, we can make another group of 10. So they took these and put them up here to make another group of 10. 9 10s and 1 seed. That's 91 seeds in all. Hooray! Tonight I'll bake blue ribbon blueberry pie. As they finished their dinner, the little cubs smelled wonderful blueberry smells from the oven. Mama Bear said, "I'm so proud of you all for working so hard. The pie is almost ready, and each of you deserves a fair bear share." Soon there was very little left, just a couple of nuts, 1 or 2 berries, a few seeds, and 4 blue bear cub smiles.